to see you,
We're
Mary.
gonna have I always like to say juicy conversation.
I don't know how juicy it'll be, but we'll give it a shot for sure. So
Well, I feel like if we have the objective that's gonna be juicy, then it's inevitably gonna be juicy.
perfect. Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. So we're here on LinkedIn Live. I'm Meredith Grundy. I host a group called Confidently Speaking. It's through my business called Grundy Coaching. Paul Kirch here is a member of Confidently Speaking, which is really exciting. And I also happen to be a member of his group
Right.
in the Boss Academy. So I love that I get to see you twice in 1 week.
Yeah, me too. It's always amazing. And when I first met you, I knew that we were kindred spirits because we had some similar, backgrounds with improv and all that. But it's just been really neat getting to learn from you and also provide a platform where you can grow through Boss Academy as well. So
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, for those that don't know you and for those that don't know about the Boss Academy, if you don't mind just talking a little bit about it, and then I can give you my 2 cents of love back.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, in 2014, I got the opportunity to host a live radio show here in Dallas, and it's really it. I say it fell into my lap. It's kind of a long story, so I won't bore people with it here. But it was really just an amazing opportunity to grow. I'd never been on radio before. The only time I'd ever stood on behind a mic was on stage, so it was a little bit stressful the first couple of episodes. But I really found my calling. I think I found a place where I really shined. In 2015, though, I decided to move it to a podcast because local radio here just wasn't really serving me because I wasn't even doing a lot of business in Dallas. Most of my clients were elsewhere. So I thought, well, let's
Mhm.
go to podcasting. And I thought that's a no brainer. Podcasting is going to be easy. Podcasting ended up being a really difficult transition because when you're in live radio, you got production studio, you got people in the booth that are making sure you stay on track. I remember one time I was doing an interview with somebody and I froze. I couldn't think of what I was trying to say. And all of a sudden, the production manager played the Jeopardy theme song, the da 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 da, and it snapped me out of it. And I thought,
Yeah.
man, what a blessing. Well, on
Yeah.
podcasting, you don't have that. You are
Right.
that. So, but I always remember that. If I ever get stuck, I kind of fall back to that sound. But so I did the show on podcasting. I was running about 3 episodes a week. I was doing a video recap, and the show was growing. And in 2017, I got very lucky and ended up on a top 10 business podcast list. And I was having so much success with the show, but my personal life at the time was kind of falling apart. I was going through a
Mhm.
divorce. I had 2 young kids. I was trying to run 2 businesses. I had this podcast. And even though I love the podcast and I felt it was my place to serve, because Boss Academy Radio was the name of the show, and Boss stood for Business Ownership Success Strategies. And that was my place to give back and serve and help entrepreneurs. And so when I shut that down, man, it left a hole, Meredith, and
Mhm.
a void.
Mhm.
So fast forward 3 years after the pandemic, I thought, Boss Academy was always supposed to be more than a radio show and a podcast. So I launched an online community, and that's how you and I met. And ever since then, it's been a place to serve from a different angle. And I think in some ways, the people that belong to Boss Academy have gained so much from being a part, coming every week, confidence and resources and all those things. It's just been a real blessing to be a part of it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about it. I've been a member now for a couple of months, which has been
Hmm.
really wonderful. And you do provide a ton of resources for small business owners. And you bring on guest speakers. I was honored to be able to come in and
Yeah.
do an improv workshop with your group, which was really fun. But just tell me a little bit about where you're hoping this group can go, like what it can become, and how you see the members of the Boss Academy really growing their businesses and supporting each other.
When I went through the divorce, it was not a healthy marriage in the end. I came out of it really kind of beat down and my confidence was shot
Hmm.
and I learned that by surrounding myself with other leaders, being part of masterminds and being part of building this community, that it allows us to lift each other up when things are not going well. And a lot of times entrepreneurs, small business owners, they don't feel like they need support when things are going good. You'll run into a coach who's out there killing it. They don't want to be a part of something else because it's a distraction.
Right.
But boy, when things go south and they don't have somewhere to turn, they don't have that support network, it's tough.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when I started it, it was a little bit selfish, and I thought, I really need this now, and I was impacting other people. At first, I didn't really realize it, but then once I started to see it, I'm like, man, I'm making a big difference. So for me, where I want to see the community go is really to be that place where people know that when things are good, they've got resources, collaboration, they've got an opportunity to be surrounded by other like-minded leaders who keep them on a good path. But when they have those moments where, business is tight, the economy is hard, or they're feeling like they're really pulled away from their business because of personal challenges, they've got a place of support. So I just want it to
Mm,
be a place where entrepreneurs can rise up and really shine by being a part of it.
that's really beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Uh, I want to acknowledge some people who are watching right now. Sherry, I want to say thank you for being here. If anybody else is watching right now, and if you feel like leaving a comment, asking a question, anything you would like Paul to expand upon or myself, feel free to just put it in the chat. We'll do the best that we can to respond to you. So, Paul, what I really appreciate is we do have this love for improvisation, and you
Yeah.
joined Confidently Speaking, which is awesome. And I always love having your voice in the room. Can you just tell me a couple of things about that community and how it might be helping you in your business or
Yeah.
with your speaking career, or your role with the Boss Academy?
Well, yeah, let me step back and tell you about my first involvement with improv. So when I got into improv, it was towards the end of my marriage and things were not good at the time, but every week I knew, because I was going to these improv classes, every week I was going to laugh. I was going to be
Yeah.
surrounded by people. We could just play and have fun and laugh. And it became my support network for a long time. And then I auditioned to get on a house team at a local club here. And I was able to get on the team, and we traveled around and did different events. And every week, man, that was my time to just all that stress, all that those feelings that I was struggling with went away because we could just have a good time.
Oh, I
And
love
so
that. Yes.
yeah, thanks. And so when I got away from or when I left the team, I was really putting my energy back into my business, but I missed that void, that hole that was there. And when you came and spoke at Boss Academy and we got to play and I got to really be reminded of the importance of having fun, but also the gifts that improv gives. I mean, give
Hmm.
improv teaches us to have a positive attitude in terms of how we support each other. This
Hmm.
yes and instead of shooting someone's idea down in improv, you can't shoot an idea down or you kill the scene.
Hmm.
And so when I went through that workshop with you and you came and spoke, I remember, I think we did an hour or hour and a half, and I remember thinking, "Gosh, this should have been 3 hours because this was so much fun." And so every week, I get to come to Confidently Speaking and be around other people that are on this path of becoming better speakers, but we all play, we have fun, but we also there's a serious side of it that makes us better at what we do, allows us
Hmm.
to adapt, and so for me, I would say the biggest thing that's come out of it is it just is a place where I can be creative in a way that I can't otherwise, you know?
Mm.
Getting on a Zoom
Hmm.
call, it's hard to just be creative in the moment. But I come
Right.
you put us on the spot every week, and it's great because we get to play but also we learn something from it every week.
Yeah, thank you for that, Paul. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. And what I really have loved about this, the group, it's been I think, oh gosh, the group has been in existence for about almost 2.5 years now, which is
Wow.
amazing. And we've had some consistent people in that group, which is also lovely. And you'll hear from some of them. I'm going to be doing these LinkedIn lives through the next few weeks until the end of the month. Is that we've really created and cultivated this group of people who are not just brave, but incredibly generous and incredibly supportive of each other. And
Yeah.
I love the inclusivity piece of it. We get to hear from every single person in that group, which is what I also feel is such a strong component of improvisation, and that improvisation mindset is that we want to hear all the voices in the room. Nobody gets left out.
Speaking of an amazing voice, I just saw Tina Larson pop in the chat,
Oh,
and
look at there. It's Tina. Hi, Tina. That's another member of Confidently Speaking,
yeah.
who launched a book not too long ago, which is Living the High Life. So, Tina, thank you for being here. And so, Paul, do you in particular have do you have speaking goals? You're going to be on a stage soon. Tell
Yeah,
us
thanks
about
to you.
that. That just
Well, so at the end of this month, on March 30th in Carrollton, Texas, I'm going to be on stage speaking at an event called Speak. The subject is homecoming. It's something you had done before. You'd spoken at a Speak event, and then you referred me to the person who was managing it, and I was really blessed to get selected as one of the speakers. And it's a great opportunity. And you know what's funny? For years I thought I should be on stage speaking more, and I never really pursued it. But after getting involved with confidently speaking and getting part of this, yeah, it's definitely something I want to pursue more.
good,
Yeah.
as you should. I think sometimes it's just about getting that first opportunity and saying
Yeah.
yes and to it and embracing it. And then, Tina Fey, I always love to quote the same quote from Tina Fey. And I know Tina has many other things that are beautiful to say and brilliant, but say yes and then figure out the rest later.
Yeah.
I feel like that has been it has actually been quite the guiding principle in my life. And I feel like it's also a beautiful guiding principle for entrepreneurs and business owners, is to just say yes and figure out the rest later, and to not worry about things being so perfect right out the gate, and to embrace your little mistakes. And you might get some, like today I sent out a newsletter, and I swear I read that thing out loud like 6 times. And in the first paragraph, like third sentence, I left a word out, and it makes absolutely
Yeah.
no sense.
Believe me, I know.
Right?
I noticed Gmail has changed their system where they now really offer you auto corrections on every email you send out, and it's amazing. I always thought I was a good writer, but I find so many blunders now. It's nice to have somebody prompting you.
Do you want to hear something that's really funny, that I was like, okay, why am I, oh, I did a little like, well, look at that. I'm a good speller. And I did everything grammatically correct.
Yeah.
I took a blog post that I wrote and I copied and pasted it and put it into Chat GPT, just to say, oh, hey, would you look at the punctuation, grammar, and spelling? And it led with, your grammar, spelling, and punctuation are quite good, or something like that. I'm having a difficult time finding errors. But if I were to change something, I was like, thanks, Chat GPT.
It's so nice, so polite. Yeah. I love it.
Sherry Phillips, what did I say? Oh, I just heard you give that exact same advice last week to Tina and Carrie. Yes. The imperfection piece, like it's okay to be is that the same advice, Sherry? I hope we're talking about the same thing, but I think I give that advice because I have to remind myself of it, right? Like that's what makes a
Yeah.
good coach, is that you're not perfect either. And you can kind of see, we mirror back things in each other a little bit.
Well, it's about being perfectly imperfect, imperfect.
Yes.
That's,
More.
I think, what it comes down to is nobody's going to be perfect, but let's do our best to, get as close as we can. So,
Oh, nobody's perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, perfection is highly overrated. That's what I
Except for
like to
maybe
say.
Tina, but, you know,
Except for Tina is
yeah,
perfect.
Larson. Yeah, there you go.
Tina Fey and Tina Larson.
Yeah. By the way, Tina Fey's book is amazing.
It is so fun, isn't it fun?
It's so great because
Like that.
you don't realize how involved in improv they were too, and all the stories that came out of their journey. It's fascinating.
And do you know what I love too? Just having, I came into the Second City world and the Improv Olympic world probably about 5 or 6 years after, the Seth Meyers and the Amy Poehlers and the Tina Feys. But what I noticed was that when you do, and just to explain to the people who might be watching right now, but when you said house team, a house team is a team of people that are put together, an
Yeah.
ensemble that's put together that performs improv, and it's usually 20-minute sets. Would you say that's about right for your
Yeah,
group?
I'm glad you clarified that because the number of people that over the years have said, "What do you mean by house team? That doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, I thought
Yeah.
it made sense." So,
Yeah. So it's like an intramural
yeah,
sport, team together. And then you come up with a funny name, right? Like I was on a team called Miss Texas, and I was on another one called Shuttlecock, and I was on another one, like all over the place,
yeah.
different names.
Yeah, ours was
What's
called Sacrilicious, so it was kinda like
sacrilegious?
it was a Simpson theme, so we had
I love it. I
yeah,
love it. So it's just so much. We have so much fun. I had a point. other than that, what was it? Oh, which was that what I loved about watching people kind of evolve in their careers is that they would pull people up with them, right? So the people that they would perform on these house teams with, I'm now seeing in shows or collaborating as writers, or it's really quite awesome to just see that level of trust that gets built
Yeah.
amongst people through the power of play and through the power of improv. And I feel like if we could have more play in our lives, the health benefits of that are just profound.
It's interesting about improv though is a lot of times I always thought I was a very funny person. I have a quick sense of humor, a very sarcastic wit. And I thought that was gonna make me a great improver. Actually, I had to temper that because in
Mhm.
improv, if you're trying to steal the scenes by always cracking the jokes, it kills things. So it's
Mhm.
like improv. So when somebody says, "Well, I'm not funny," I would never be able to do that. Actually, that's probably improv is going to teach you humor, but from a different angle than you just coming in and trying to be the funny person. It's amazing how many people that do stand up can't do improv and vice versa.
Oh,
I
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
totally different muscle, right?
it
Well, I
is.
feel what really works and what's successful in improv, there's a couple of things. One is playing from a place of truth. You start with truth, right? And the humor comes from the truth, from being honest in the moment. And I also feel like the second piece is performing at the height of your intelligence. So it's those two things. And so sometimes when you go out there, you're not keeping, first of all, the whole group mind and the bigger picture in mind, then you just come out there with your witty joke or something. It's not going to land because you don't have the buy-in from the whole group. You're not listening.
Tina, I'm not sure if I take that as a compliment or an insult, Tina. I'm not sure what to say there. She said, "You're sarcastic, Paul." I would have never guessed. Yeah.
I'm sarcastic. I think there's nothing wrong with sarcasm,
Well,
Paul.
it's
I
the
am
language.
also sarcastic.
That was my first language before I even learned English, so, it is what it is, but
It
yeah,
is, but
and the other thing I would say that improv gave me was the ability to I've always been quick, but you have to learn to not just be quick with your comment, but adapt and interact with the other person and help them with their message, So
mhm.
you're trying to keep a scene going, you're trying to keep somebody else engaged, and you've got to do it in a way that isn't just about you, but it allows them to shine. And
Yeah.
I think that's really applicable in life and business, and it really does make you a better communicator.
Yeah. The whole "I've got your back" mentality. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
yeah,
I,
that's the one thing that I loved is every time we'd get on stage, we'd look at each other in the eye, we'd pat each other on the back, and we'd say out loud, "I've got your back," and then we'd all run up on stage.
well, one of my favorite moments was our second. So in improv, at least the way that we did it here, where there was multiple classes that you would go through, like you'd go through a series of 6 weeks of training on whatever using questions or whatever
Mhm.
affirmative messages, whatever it ends up being. So each phase, then at the end, you would have like a little graduation performance where you would get on stage and perform with your team. And I remember our second one, there was a woman in there who she wasn't really grasping everything, but she was fun. She was a quirky person. So we're up on stage, and a friend of mine, he comes out and he's pretending he's Batman, and he's creating this scene, and somebody else is Superman, and I'm out on stage, and I'm this arch nemesis to these guys, and we're having this amazing moment, and all of a sudden she comes out and goes, "Oh, guys, you're just, it's time to take your medicine and go back to your rooms." She totally robbed us of the moment and the scene, and I think that's something that happens so much in life and in business where we don't mean to shoot people down or we don't mean to steal people's thunder, but we do it so quick and easily. And that really stuck with me because if we'd have kept that scene going, it was brilliant. The crowd was loving it. And then all of a sudden, like that, she killed the moment. And I think about how
Yes.
often that happens in business and in personal communication.
I would say probably on a pretty regular basis, which
Yeah.
is and it's It's a mindset, and it's a tool that can be used. And you know what I always find interesting too is that sometimes it's because we don't know how to have the communication or the conversation. Like, she came on and she didn't quite understand what the
Yeah.
rules were, it sounds like, right? But once you figure out what those rules are and you can work together collectively as a team, it's actually so much more efficient and fun versus in the name of efficiency, which is where I see this happen a lot, is someone will say no because they got to move on. They've got limited time in their meeting. They've got to get the project done, right? We're on the clock, people. And whereas oftentimes when you have that mindset in the name of efficiency and time, and we got to get the project out, we have to have the deliverable, we have to circle back a lot. We have to
Yeah.
redo things. We make mistakes because if we had just allowed things to be in the moment, in that ideation space, to have lived long enough for people to get all their ideas out, we could have solved the problem or found the best idea from the worst idea, but who would ever know, because we never allowed the bad ideas to come out.
Yeah, 100%. And and I think sometimes people even get uncomfortable in their communication too, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people shoot down ideas and they shoot down things because they want to be involved, but they don't necessarily have anything compelling to say, and what comes out of their mouth is a contrary position, and that's a shame because unfortunately most people in the world, they love a contrary position, but when you're on the receiving end of it, it's really deflating.
It can be really hard. I
Yeah.
feel too, this is where yes and can come into play as well. Like, not everything in communication we can't agree with everything, right? You
Right.
might have a completely opposing point of view than me, and we've seen that a lot, obviously. So what
I
are
don't agree with
ways
that. I don't
you
agree
didn't
one
agree with
bit.
that? What
No.
I'm hearing you say, Paul, is that you don't agree with what I just said.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
But so this the point being is that yes and can also be used as a form of acknowledgement. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not that I agree with you, but I hear what you're saying. I'm going to reflect partly, I'm going to reflect back a part of that so that you feel heard. I think that's ultimately what we want, is to feel heard.
That's right. Yeah, I give the example a lot of times where I'll be talking about how when somebody doesn't understand how yes and can apply to business, I mean, think about an interaction, somebody having a company and they're in a meeting and somebody says, "Oh, we could launch that new program by using some funds from XYZ campaign." Another
Mhm.
person is going to come in and say, "No, we can never do that. We can't touch that money. That money has to go to another use." But if you said, "Yeah, it's a great idea, but instead of using those funds, what if we could actually recruit some money from uh, this supplier over here?" So all of a sudden, they've taken that same idea, instead of shooting it down, they've taken it another direction, and then people can expand upon that and grow, and it's powerful.
Yeah, it can be very powerful. It's a very powerful tool. I can't get enough of it in my own life. It's actually a great parenting tool as well. The yes and
You
I
should
I
try
have
that.
you should try sometime. It's different than having a yes day. My daughter saw that movie and I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
my
don't know.
daughter's tried that. It's like, "Dad, so today you can't say no to anything." I was like, "Yeah, that's not happening."
Well, my husband did this, I think it was brilliant, which we call it special Harper playtime, which is she chose 14 minutes. So that's why it's 14 minutes. She gets 14 minutes of we do whatever the heck she wants to do, and we can't say no to anything. So it's just 14 minutes. So there's not like a whole heck of a lot that she can like do in 14 minutes that's going to be like us being our morale or our core values being challenged. So it's like, well, she'll be like, can you just scroll TikTok with me for 14 minutes? Great. Or can I just dance for 14 minutes? Or can we play charades for 14
Yeah.
minutes? I think it can be quite fun. Um,
I might do 14 seconds because I'm trying to think of all the stores that are within 14 minutes of us. I think my daughter could cause a lot of trouble.
she could
So,
cause a lot of the
yeah,
stores.
14 seconds, I'm in.
You can have, okay, so improv, this is what a lot of people don't know either. It has a structure, right? We have a structure. We've got like the Herald. There's a lot of different forms and structures that we work with. So you could just give her a structure, and the
That's right.
structure does not include a car.
Ah, very good. I like that. I
Do you
like
like
that.
that?
Yeah.
Do you like that? So within this structure, this is what we get to do for 14 minutes.
No car, no internet. I might be okay.
You
So,
might be okay.
yeah.
Well, Paul, this has been really fun. Thank you for hopping on here with me to talk about the Boss Academy and to also, and look at this. This is Restream has this new thing. It's a QR code. So if people are interested in getting in touch with
Sweet.
you and the Boss Academy, please go ahead and just scan that code. It'll bring you right to Paul's website so you can check it out. I'm Meredith. I have Confidently Speaking, which is my group coaching program. We meet every Wednesday from 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We lead with improv exercises going to help you become a better public speaker. And we also have a practice day that's designated every fourth Wednesday of the month so that if you have something that you are working on, Paul, I hope you bring that story with you that you're about to do. That's a place where you can practice in front of an audience before getting in front of the big audience. So call it your dress rehearsal. You can find us at members. And I have a little caption here for you that I'll put there up here, which is members at confidentlyspeaking.fun, because we do have a lot of fun. And I'm opening up membership to new members on March 21st. So I hope you will join us because it would be lovely to have you a part of the group. And we are doing these LinkedIn Lives because this is a part of my monthly challenge with Confidently Speaking, is to get folks like Paul and everybody else on these platforms. We all come from different backgrounds and expertise and levels. So this is what we do. We have some fun. Last month, it was a 30-day video challenge. And I think Tina, you did a pretty great job with that challenge last month. So
No
that's
surprise.
it. Yeah, I know. So, Paul, any other last thoughts or words before we say goodbye?
No, you gave the QR code, which is great, but anybody that doesn't have the ability to scan that, bossacademy.com, come out, check out what we're doing, interact with me out there. I'd love to learn more. So there you go,
There you go.
bossacademy.com. And
Boom.
I appreciate you, Meredith. You're somebody that I've been really blessed to get to know, and it's been fun. But I've also learned a lot, and I think the fact that we've been able to support each other is amazing. We need more of
Yeah.
that.
Thank you, Paul. I feel the same. All right. Take care and have an amazing day. Thanks for being
You
here.
too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.